Welcome to our podcast, our 938 podcast. We're glad you're here with us today. I hope you've been enjoying the podcast that we've been presenting to you every week. And so if you would go and like our podcast and subscribe to it, then you'll get some notifications for future ones. Also, you can go back to our YouTube channel and watch some of our previous ones, and a lot of good information that we're presenting. And so we want to welcome you here today. We have a special guest with us today. We have Debbie Schmachtenberger. And Debbie, we're going to talk a little bit about our staff and the mission office. You know, a lot of times I hear from pastors that, wow, the mission office is doing great, and John, you're doing really good leading it and things like that. And I always say it's because I have a great team at the mission office, and I really do. In fact, the missionaries will say, wow, you just have such a great team at the mission office. We appreciate what everyone does. So today I'm going to talk with Debbie a little bit and about some of the things that we do here at the mission office. One of the things that's interesting, if you think about it, in 1970, we had 20 staff members. We processed about $17 million annually for around 300 missionaries. Today, we have nearly 700 missionaries. We process $35 million, almost double, more than double, and yet we still have just 20 staff members. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very impressive. We have always been fortunate enough that we've had the finances and the personnel to use technology to the best of our to really help us out, and to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of difference.
Amen. You know, you think about the finances to help us. We don't charge the missionaries or the churches for our services. We have people that voluntarily support us just like they support missionaries. So
we do.
We've got so many good churches behind us that enable us to do all that we do.
Right, and we're very, very thankful for that, because
Yes.
without them, we wouldn't be able to hire the quality of people that we hire, and we wouldn't have the money for the technology and the improvements that
Yes.
go
Yeah.
along. It costs more in the long run if you don't keep up with technology.
That's right. That's right. And so really that's what's enabled us to do all that we do with more people, working with more churches. And it's just really exciting to see how God has blessed us through the years.
It is.
Now, Debbie, you have been here for quite a while at the mission office.
Definitely.
How many years have you worked here?
I've been here 45 years.
45 years. And when were you hired?
I was hired in April of 1976.
1976. I'm not going to tell you how old I was then, but
well, please don't.
yeah, you must have been like 12 years old then when you were hired.
Sure. Mhm.
And who was the mission director that hired you?
Brother Boonstra was here then.
Dr. Boonstra. You know, I've known him, my family has known him for a long time, since I was just a little kid, but you worked for him then way back then. What was he like?
Well, at first, to me, he was very scary.
Yes.
And he had this office that was long, so you had to walk quite a ways up to his desk, and it was very intimidating. And then later on, after I got to know him, I found out he's just a pretty nice guy.
Yes.
Pretty special.
He really is. And, you know, Dr. Boonstra really was very strong in his financial dealings and very tight, really.
He was, but he got us in a position to where, that we feel much more secure.
Yes, yes. And it's because of him and then Dr. Baird and their strength in the financial world that has made our office as strong as it is today.
Has. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, it has.
So, Debbie, you've been here then 45 years here this month. What are some things you've seen change or are done differently, since in these years?
The main thing, or one of the big things that I've seen, is when, we used to use a computer, one huge computer, no one else connected to it, and we used punch cards, and they read all those in. All the reports were run by a computer operator and taken to people. So it wasn't real time. It took a certain amount of time to get information out there. And at that point in time, at the end of the month, we had to close out 5 working days before the end of the month. And then we would get everything ready to go to missionaries. We spent a whole day getting everything in the mail, ready and in the mail to the missionaries.
Yeah.
It would take the missionaries sometimes 2 or 3 weeks to get their mail.
Uh-huh.
And so they had to go that long without knowing exactly how much we'd put in the bank for them that month, or they had to call.
Yeah.
Telephone calls were expensive, but that last day of the month, that phone rang from the time we got here until the time we left.
Yes. People wanting to know what their deposit
was. So they knew what they had to work with for the next month.
Yeah. I remember as a missionary and we would get that mail usually around the 14th or 15th of the month. So we basically had our budget from the middle of the month to the middle of the month because of the time it took for the mail to get there. We didn't make those phone calls because of the cost.
Right.
And so that's how it was then, but it's a little bit different now. Tell me how things work now.
Now it takes us 3 days to close out. And on that next to last working day, the deposits in the bank for the missionaries should hit that night. And we have their end of the month statement to them. We email it to them that night, and they'll have it usually before the day is over with on that next to last day.
Wow. And in addition to that, they can pretty much check throughout the month funds that have come in and support that's come in.
With the website, they can go out there and they can run essentially it's a lot the same report that shows exactly who was given to them, how much, and we after 5 every day, it's got that day's work on it.
Wow.
So
that's neat. And then also from that website, they can generate reports and things, can't they? For their
it's part of my job is to write those reports.
Exactly. So when you were first hired, though, what did you do?
What did I do? About a weekend, I was the computer operator. And so I would load cards and read the punch cards. I would change the disc out, and I would print a lot of reports and deliver those to people, those type of things. And then I also wrote some of the jobs that we used to process with.
Now, what was your major in college?
My major, I had a comprehensive computational math major with an emphasis in computer science and a BS in education.
Wow. That sounds pretty complicated.
I'm afraid of missing out on something, so I
Yes.
try to pack as much in as I can. And
Mm.
I did it in 3 years.
Oh, wow. Wow. And, I always say that because you are a math major or in studying those areas, you always think logically. And so as I've been the mission director now almost 16 years, you've been a great help to me thinking through all the budget and things like that because you do think logically through things.
Thank you. I like to problem solve.
Yeah. Yeah. And we do have some problems here and there. And so,
And some of it's not really a problem. It's just figure out how to get from one point to another and what we need to do.
yeah. And then you also now you write a lot of the reports and things, and that kind of puts our processing for our missionaries in a unique way because we do things specifically for how we handle things with our missionaries. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you can buy boxed software, but it has limitations, and we're just not like anybody else because of the way we process funds. And so we're able to customize what reports we have for the missionaries to meet their needs and customize what we need in the office. And we can do a lot of things spur of the moment. We've had churches contact us and they need some kind of information about the missionaries they support, and we're able to do that within a few days.
Yeah, good. One of the things, Debbie, that I've always appreciated with you is your passion for missions, your love for the missionaries.
Yeah, that's what makes my job. So, people talk about their dream job. This is my dream job.
Wow. And, I know missionaries, a lot of times they've got to know you through the years, so they like to just go directly to you for different situations, don't they?
I think people, whenever they find somebody that will help them, then that's their connection, and that's who they go to.
Yeah, and if that's one thing I could say of the many things that I could say, you want to help in any way.
Yes, very much. That's
And
my desire.
it's going to be hard to kind of pick up.
Well, it's going to be hard to leave because
Yes.
I'm going to miss the missionaries. I'm going to miss the office staff, the churches, and feeling like I'm a part of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you think about the whole working of the mission office, I think we're pretty efficient in all that we do because we have such a good staff. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we are, especially when you consider we have 20 people and how much we do. We provide so many different services. And as the years have gone, we've expanded that to where the podcast, that would not have even been heard of years ago.
Yeah.
And, services just continue to grow, but the number of people don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, one of the things that we're really pushing is Project 938. You've seen our missionary numbers grow through the years, and now, like most other organizations, they seem to be going down. But this is our emphasis on praying for more.
Right. And it's very important because, we got to a point where every year our mission staff grew. And then we've got to the place now where a lot of our missionaries are older. We had 18 missionaries pass away last year, and we need people to fill those shoes.
Yes.
And there's more and more, the population increases. There's more and more countries that it's short-lived time that you can be in there. We need to be there to spread the gospel.
Yes. Yes. One of the things that I'd like to know that I know you're not looking forward to leaving.
No.
But what are some things you plan to do when you do retire?
Well, when I retire, one thing, I want to be available to help my kids. I've got a son and daughter-in-law that live in Kansas City, 2 wonderful grandkids, and they're still young. I've got an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Yes.
And so I want to be available to help when they're out of school and some things like that. And of course, you always have home projects, painting that you need to do or organizing you need to do. But I would like to work on a Habitat for Humanity home. Benny and my husband and I have talked about delivering Meals on Wheels. And then I found a organization that makes beds for kids who don't have beds. And I would like to get involved in that.
Wow.
Just volunteer.
Sure. Well, I know you through the years, you like to do woodworking and projects and things like that. So that would be just perfect, right down your alley.
Well, I'm fascinated by power tools.
Yes, I know. And you keep inviting me to come out and do some wood projects with you, but in your shop out there.
Yes.
So when you do retire, it's going to be hard when there's some things that come up, especially in the near future. I'm sure you'll be available to us. Is that right?
Yes. I would be disappointed if you don't call me. So.
Yes. Yeah. Well.
And I can come in just about any time I need to help out.
Sure.
In whatever way.
Yeah.
If somebody's gone and I need to fill in, I'm very willing.
Well, that's what I've always known of you, Debbie, and you've been a great help to me.
Thank you.
As we've gone through this now together, and we always talked about you can't leave because
Yeah, we've gone back and forth several years over that.
Right, and now you're retiring, and I'm going to still be here, but I know where to find you.
That's right.
And I know you'll help us in any way you can.
I promise to answer my phone.
Yes, good. Well, we're excited for Debbie and the life that she's going to be able to lead in her next phase, as she's going to spend time with her kids and work in different projects, helping others. That's always the way it has been for Debbie. And Debbie, we appreciate you very much. And
Thank you.
You've been a great asset for 45 years to the
you.
mission office. And so if you would like to send congratulations to Debbie, you can always do that through our office and show your appreciation to her. And as you can see from just one example here with Debbie, we have a great team, a great staff, and we do so many things for our missionaries, and we appreciate them so much. So I hope you've enjoyed this time, our conversation with Debbie Schmachtenberger, and join us even next week for the next podcast that we're going to have on our 938 podcast. And pray for more missionaries. As you heard from Debbie, we need more missionaries because people in the world need Jesus Christ. God bless you.